law enforcement?
Great.
Yeah, I'll have to hand these mics off in a few minutes.
That's fine.
These
All
other
right, we'll
guys
come
will
up.
speak.
We'll come up and readjust.
We got you back, buddy.
Okay.
Okay, we're rolling.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Ira Tilley. I've been appointed public relations person for the Historic Political Action Committee. We're a group of citizens and business owners here in the city of Reedsville, and we have took the issue of the monument into consideration of what's happened here. As you all know, on May 23rd, the monument was hit by accident here in Reedsville, and we have formed a group of citizens to address this issue of the monument being removed. I have a small business, Tilley Monument Cleaning, and 6 years ago, next month, the city of Reedsville contracted me to clean the monument. Since this time, I have been asked by several citizens about the monument and what was going to happen with the monument and could I help. So that's why I'm here today. I'm going to introduce Diane Parnell in a few moments, and also Minister Norris Akins is also here to speak about the monument. We have 3 points that we want to get across. We have sent a letter to the city of Reedsville, and the contentions that we have is that neither the state UDC nor the city of Reedsville owns the intersection or the roundabout that the monument sits in. We contend that the property is owned by the state of North Carolina, and unless we're proved wrong, we contend also that the North Carolina Historical Commission was not consulted regarding the removal of the monument, nor was the North Carolina State Department of Transportation. So again, we don't want to be here, but at the same time, we're proud to stand here as a group of citizens to let everyone know that we intend to try to make a wrong a right. As an American citizen and a citizen of Rockingham County, and as taxpayers, we feel it's our civic obligation and our duty to stand before you today and try to get something done in a positive way and try to make it a win-win situation for everyone. We all were raised as children growing up that if you have an accident, you're supposed to fix it. You're supposed to make it whole. And as everyone knows, this did not happen. The monument was hit on May 23rd. The gentleman that hit it, he said right away that it was an accident. He didn't mean to do it. And I take the gentleman at his word. So I feel like, again, that because it was an accident, no matter who owns the monument, whether it's the city, the state, or the state UDC, I feel like that the monument should go back up. And after it goes back up, if there's a certain faction of the population here in Reedsville that doesn't like the monument, never liked the monument, and wants it removed, then by all means, let's go through the proper channels to have that done. We have laws and rules and regulations in our country, and all we're asking for is these be followed. So without further ado, I want to introduce Diane Parnell of Mayberry's here in Reedsville, a successful entrepreneur and business owner, and I want to let her talk just a few minutes as well, and then we'll introduce Minister Akins.
Absolutely.
Flip that. Most anywhere.
Hey there, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Glad it's not raining this morning.
Yes, we have been blessed in that respect. So tell us who you are.
I'm Diane Parnell. I'm the Vice President of the Historical Political Action Committee. I'm here representing a number of businesses and individuals up and down Main Street, Scale Street here, that feel like this is wrong. We need to stand up for what's right. And ladies and gentlemen, now is the time to do it. This monument means a lot to the city of Reidsville. My great-great-grandfather died in this war. Is this right that we don't respect our veterans like we should? These guys that went off to war, they didn't go as Confederates. They went as men protecting their family and protecting Reidsville. Are we going to let them down? I don't think so. Thank you.
Just spell your names, please.
Diane Parnell.
Talk about the group and how many people's involved in that group.
Do you want me to do that?
Yes.
We're approximately 50 people at the present time. That is our inner group. There are multiple people out there. There are thousands that signed the petition. I think most of you know that there is a Facebook committee, Facebook page that has 1,700 members. We've met with very little opposition at our store, people signing the petition, and I think that this is something that we feel very strongly about. And like I said, if that's the case, it's time to stand up and say, this is wrong. This is wrong. We have a voice. It's time to speak that voice. Thank you.
Let me ask you something.
Yes, sir.
From a business standpoint, we've been taking calls from people in Virginia and so forth, and they're kind of like saying the businesses didn't stand up enough during the initial parts.
They were never asked.
Right.
They were never asked. Multiple business owners that came in to see me and said, what's going on? Why is this happening? I said, well, no one has taken a lead and taken this bull by the horns and said, well, let's do this. But I can look up and down Scale Street right now and tell you that the businesses that have contributed money to this cause and are willing to contribute more.
What kind of legal fight are you getting ready for?
I'm hoping there's not going to be a legal fight. We're not at war with the city of Reidsville. We just want the rules that Ira was stating. We want those followed. We want the law upheld. If someone ran into your building and walked away, that wouldn't be right that you had to pay for putting it back. Well, the fact that that monument was hit doesn't mean that it should stay down. The people of Reidsville, the will of the people has not been heard. And there are multiple people out here. You just have to hear them. You have to listen instead of doing what you think is politically correct. There's a time to take a stand.
Do you think it was kind of done backroom so far?
We all have our opinion, but considering there was one taken down in Lynchburg, several in Gettysburg, 2 in Georgia, and 2 in South Carolina that I understand that were taken down in similar fashion, I'm suspect, yes, most folks are. That's my opinion.
So you just think this is sort of a blanket thing that happens with these kind of monuments?
I'm thinking that it is. Now, that's my opinion.
What were the other cities you were talking about?
Lynchburg had one taken down in similar fashion. I do not know the research on that, but I understand there was 2 in South Carolina and 2 in Lynchburg, and there was actually 2 in Gettysburg, if I'm not mistaken.
We covered the city council debate the other night, and the black leaders there, majority of them were against, against any more steps on the monument. Any comments on that? And one of the council candidates said it was divided.
I do not see this as a black-white issue. It has nothing to do with race for me. This is respect for a veteran that went off to war. And I look around me and I can see that the guys that I know that went to war, this is just one more soldier. It just happens to be the Confederate soldier that went to war. This is not right. He went to protect his family. I'm sure that wasn't a choice he made lightly. And it's not something that we lightly take. But it is not a black and white issue.
Right, but it is a dividing issue. There's some parts of the town that think it needs to stay down, and then there's some people that say leave it up.
It may be a dividing issue, but that's not on our part.
How do you feel about the racist comments that are being put on the Facebook posts?
It pains me a great deal because I think that Reidsville should be united to make Reidsville a better town. We want to do so, but like I said, we feel like this is wrong, and it's time to take a stand on that.
Do you feel like there's any room for compromise with your neighbors and fellow taxpayers in the city who feel differently, feel the opposite to you?
Well, I think Norris Akins can answer that a lot more eloquently than I can. We discussed that in the meeting this morning. Do you mind if I let him answer that question? This is okay. All right. Do you need Ira to introduce Reverend Akins?
No, we can ask him his name. He'll need to put a mic on you. Reverend Akins, how are you today?
Doing great. How about you?
I'm good. I'm trying to deal with this broken thumb here. Hi. So, everybody ready? Tell us who you are, sir.
Yes, my name is Norris Akins. I'm a minister here in Reedsville. My wife and I founded Living by the Word Ministries. We are concerned citizens active in awakening the community to be citizens. That is, to find out what the laws are, how they operate, and hold our city, county, and nation accountable to do the law. We are a nation of laws. And of late, the last 20, 30 years, the laws have been disregarded by our leaders, and we as the people have said nothing, have said it's all right. Because we've kept our mouths shut, leaders have done what they wanted to do. The time for that has stopped. It's time for us to start speaking up for our rights, but we have to know what our rights are. We have to be educated. As far as compromise goes, compromise means that you don't believe in what you say you believe. There's no compromise on your belief, what you believe. There may be common ground to work in certain areas, but not compromise. Thank you.
No, I'm sorry, I don't think that answered my question.
Okay.
My question is there room for some compromise with the other tax-paying neighbors of Reedsville who feel differently?
If there's some common ground, but not compromise, the statue was accidentally hit. It should be replaced and restored. And then if there's some debate about whether or not it should be there, then it should go through the process of doing that. That's how it should be. That's how the law should work.
So what you all are saying is there is no...
If I don't like your car, if I don't like your car and I hit it accidentally, but I say, well, since I don't like it, we ain't gonna do nothing about it. That's not right.
So what you all are saying is there is no compromise for you all on this issue?
There's no compromise until after it's restored. And then you go through due process. That's what our law says. You go through due process, not go by a whim, just take an incident and use that incident to make a law or make a rule. That's not what we're about.
A compromise, somebody's called in on our talk show and said that the compromise would be to make a monument for all wars.
Well, see, that if you want to make a monument for all wars, great. If you want to make a monument for all wars, great. That's a good idea, but that's not what this is about. It's about this monument.
Outside this letter, have you talked to the city leaders at all about their opinions or what they...
Uh, Until I've got involved in it, my understanding was that the city leaders didn't want to talk with us.
Has the group tried contacting them?
Yes, they have.
I have a question actually, kind of on that line. You all spend the vast majority of your letter establishing your argument that the property and the statue belong to the state. Why even? But the letter's addressed to the city. I guess it doesn't quite make sense. I mean, if you feel like the property and the statue belong to the state, why aren't you soliciting the state for some sort of action?
I believe the letter was sent to both places.
But it wasn't addressed. I mean, my understanding is that it was sent to the Historical Commission and to the DOT, but it wasn't addressed to either one of those folks.
Well, the city...
And it didn't make any demands or expectations of either one of those folks.
Well, the city took the monument down. They removed the monument. So that's why we are addressing the city. You know, they took it down. We didn't take it down. Nobody asked them to take it down.
Well, I mean, they didn't take down the statue.
They literally took it down, yes, sir.
The statue came off of the base.
Well, the soldier did. The statue, the monument consists of the base pedestal all the way up to the soldier, approximately 32 feet high. So the city the city removed the monument. Nobody asked the city to remove the monument.
The city's standpoint on that, though, was to keep it safe for like anyone else who was going to harm it or something happened, a dangerous situation. How do you feel about that? Because that's where their standpoint always
Well,
was.
the city was offered by a local plumbing business here in Reedsville that has heavy equipment, Hallwell and Plumbing. They were offered on multiple occasions, free of charge, to move the base back, turn the pedestal correct, and reseal that until the soldier could be. And everybody knows it, and we'll go along. The soldier himself may be in disrepair. We may not be able to put the soldier back together, and that's fine. But that's what replicas are for. You know, there can be a replica made with the technology that we have today, with lasers and computer technology, with granite and marble. We can recreate the soldier. That's not an issue.
But by your own argument, that's not the city's problem. That's the state's problem.
Well, that's right. Unless they can prove us wrong, they're out of the picture, both of them. The
So
state.
are you going to be approaching the state, I guess?
Yeah, we have, yes, sir. We've contacted the state North Carolina Historical Commission and the North Carolina DOT. So we've never done this before. This is new to all of us. So we're in the process of contacting folks.
But your position is that the city's out of line, right?
Our position is what?
The city's out of line with moving it and doing it?
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, they're not listening to the people. Listen to the people.
Are going by the law.
And like Minister Aikens said, let's go by the law. Let's go by the rules. What are we teaching our kids here? You know, like he said, if you have an accident, you hit somebody else's car or the building, or you don't have to fix it. It's okay. Is that the kind of message we want to convey to our children? No, I don't.
But I mean, in all due respect, I mean, that's not the message that is being sent. The message being sent from the city is the UDC owns the statue and the base, and the UDC is in the process of, essentially, I guess, what they were saying, the process of getting a replica made, and that they do not want to return it to the place that it was at originally.
Well,
now,
I
obviously,
think,
you all are arguing it. Maybe a
well, the
different point,
local UDC in Rockingham County does want the monument returned and has all along. They've been ignored, and the people have been ignored. And like we're saying, it's time to stop. We've got to adhere to the will of the people.
Reverend Aiken, could you spell your names for us?
NORRIS AIKENS.
Okay. Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Personal question. You're saying you support putting the monument back. Do you have personal issues about the monument being there itself, or are you okay with it per se?
I look at it as a part of the county's history. It shouldn't be eradicated.
What's the next step after the 30 days? If the city doesn't listen?
Well, we're hoping that they'll, according to the News and Record this morning, Mr. Pierce has indicated that they've heard some things that they didn't know. You know, if there was points made that the city had not considered, and that's a positive sign on their part, I think. And we're trying to work with. We want to work with the city. We're not, as Diane said a few minutes ago, we're not at war with the city of Reedsville. It's no hatred involved here. This is nothing personal. We just want the right thing done. We don't want to go into a lawsuit or anything like that. We're not asking for that. We didn't ask for this at all. We don't even want to be here. You know, we didn't create this.
How would you feel about a public vote on it?
I think a public vote would be fine. You know, let the people.
What do you mean? What do you mean by public vote?
Put it on the ballot.
Well, that's the way we work. If you're talking about a ballot, yeah.
If the state of North Carolina, and like I say, unless we're proved wrong, if the state of North Carolina says, hey, this is something that the citizens of Reedsville should decide by ballot, perhaps next May during the primary or whenever, then sure. And if the people of Reedsville decide to leave it where it's at, that's fine. If the people decide to move it, then that's okay. We all have to accept that because that's the will of the people, and it's always the right choice because that's what the people decided. But let's let the people decide if that's what it comes down to. But there again, it all goes back to one thing. It was an accident, folks. And what do you do when you have an accident?
Restore.
You restore it. You make it whole again. That's all we're saying. It's not hard. I mean,
Mr. Kelly, how many 100,000 North Carolina soldiers were killed that statue represents?
I understand it's over 600,000. Over 600,000 North Carolina soldiers were killed during that conflict. And what a terrible conflict. You know, here it is, ironically, at the 150th anniversary, y'all, of the Civil War, and we're here talking about this. We ought to be past all this by now and concentrate on history. It was over 600, I think it was 641 or 651 in Rockingham County that lost their lives. And there again, I mean, this was a day before cell phones, before internet, before radio, before TV. The guys that are over there in Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, they don't have a clue why they're over there. Most of them don't. Ask them when they come home on furlough. They'll tell you. We don't know why we're there. So how in the world could you expect guys that were ordered by the Governor Vance at that time, to go off and fight? I mean, they had no idea. All they knew that they were ordered to go fight, and if they didn't go fight, they were put in jail. So
Are y'all still claiming that was an accident?
I take the gentleman at his word. We don't have any other way to prove.
I'm study came out of Wentworth Street, made a 45-degree turn, come down the bottom of the hill, made about a 30-degree turn, and then a 45-degree turn, and come up to the monument head on. That's an accident?
I don't know, sir. I agree with what you're saying, but we just...
Was he charged at that time? Was he arrested and charged at any time?
He was later charged with driving.
At that time?
No, sir, he was not.
Was he tested for sobriety? Had he on drugs, alcohol?
I do not know.
Then the police didn't do the job?
I don't know. I mean, they may have. I don't know.
If they did. But if they didn't, they didn't.
I understand.
We understand that, that's for the courts to decide.
Well,
we're not judging anyone.
Well, we're just saying, if he said it was an accident, we take him at his word. Let's get it fixed. Let's put it back up. And like I said, if there's a certain faction of the population that don't like it, never liked it, and wants it removed, then okay. Then go through the proper procedures. We are in America.
How can you fall asleep going up the hill and run into a monument?
Richard, you're right. I don't.
Saturday and looked at it for the last time. They're going to take it down next. It ain't just the one people that wants to take all the Confederate monuments down. Chapel Hill, called Silent Sam, we've been hearing for the last 6 months that they're going to take it out. So if you want to see it, go down and look at it. When they knock it down, it'll be a big argument on where they're going to put it back there.
Well, let's try to stay positive. That's what we're trying to stay positive on this.
Who's the they you guys keep speaking of? Who's the they? You keep speaking of they are trying to take it down.
Same group that took this one down and come to the others. It's a group of people that do not want Confederate monuments. I don't know what their names are. I know that my ancestors, who were Indians, fought the U.S. Army. And there's some Indians, y'all talk about black and white stuff. There was a lot of Indians that fought for the Confederacy. Get away from the black and white. If one Indian fought for the Confederacy and died, he's a veteran too. So get away from the black and white stuff. And if you'll know, after the Civil War was over, the righteous U.S. Army that freed all these people down here and done all the righteous stuff, they went out west, and the Buffalo soldiers massacred and killed the women and children of the Indians. And it was more than this black and white and slavery thing. And the Indians fought for the Confederacy. And just if it was 10 Indians that fought that memorial is for, they should be stood up. And that's what I'm standing up for, because my ancestry was Indians. If anybody here's got anything against the Indians and think they were treated any better than the others, then they're wrong. And when they tear down the monument in Chapel Hill, y'all need to go down there and say somebody told you they were going to tear it down. I went down there Saturday to look at that monument for the last time, and I took some people with me and I said, they're going to tear this monument down. And it's already been set up, and I don't know who they are. I know who I am, and I know who my ancestor was.
Who are you in?
I'm a Rockingham County resident, and there's 4 or 5 memorials to my ancestors in this county right now that's been put up. And if they tear this one down, are they going to go to the cemeteries where these memorials are at and allow them to take those monuments down too? If you let them, you start at one, you got to stop somewhere. It's going to go a whole lot further.
Anybody believes that's going to happen?